All associate brokers and sales agents affiliated with the principal broker have the authority to bind and obligate the principal broker. As the agent of the principal brokers must properly train and supervise all licensees affiliated with them in order to minimize liability. Sales agents and associate brokers also have certain obligations to the principal broker. Sales agents and associate brokers must always keep their principal brokers informed regarding transactions in which they are involved at all times. Sales agents and associate brokers must also follow all policies and procedures the principal broker has put in place for the brokerage. The principal broker bears the responsibility for developing and disseminating policies and procedures. Sales agents and associate brokers must account for all funds in a timely manner. For example, if a sales agent receives an earnest money deposit to be deposited into the brokerage trust account, the sales agent must deliver the check to the principal broker as quickly as possible. Sales agents and associate brokers also have a responsibility to honor and protect the duties and obligations the principal broker has to the client, even though the principal broker may not be working directly with the client. Cooperating broker, MLS, and subagency. When a broker or one of their agents lists a property, they usually don't have a buyer already in mind. The broker or agent lists the property with the promise that they will attempt to find a buyer for the property. In the residential market, listings are often placed on a multiple listing service, MLS. A multiple listing service is essentially a large database of listings taken by all member brokerages. For example, in Utah, the Wasatch Front Regional Multiple Listing Service, the WFR MLS, contains listings from brokerages all along the Wasatch Front. When a broker or agent is representing a buyer, the chance that the broker will have a property listed which will satisfy the buyer's needs are small. The broker will often consult the MLS to find properties listed by all brokers in the area. You can see how the MLS concept is beneficial to both sellers and buyers. Sellers are able to expose their property to a large group of brokers who may have buyers interested in the subject property. Buyers are able to see a large number of available listings which may meet their requirements. The MLS concept sounds great in theory. All the brokers cooperate with each other, sharing their information in an attempt to best serve their clients. Cooperation serves the clients, but real estate licensees must be paid. Let's examine the compensation alternatives. In many markets, tradition dictates that the seller pay the commission to both the listing agent and the buyer's agent. From a contractual and agency perspective, this may be accomplished a few different ways. Remember, agency is often defined by statute. What we are about to discuss is an excellent example of how agency laws change. When the concept of MLS was first introduced, subagency was an integral part of the structure. Let's walk through the process. As mentioned, when the MLS was first introduced, subagency was integral to the MLS. So you had a seller's broker who represented a seller and a buyer who was working with who he thought was a buyer broker. However, even though the buyer felt he was working with the buyer's broker, because subagency was integral to the MLS, the seller's broker, the buyer's broker, still both represented the seller. Now remember, this was when the MLS was first introduced. And in this case, no one represented the buyer. In this scenario, no one represented the buyer. All parties represented the seller. presumably because the seller was the one paying the commission. Unrepresented buyers proved to be problematic, necessitating an evolution in agency laws. Current agency laws allow the buyer's broker to be compensated by the seller, but continue to represent the buyer alone. The compensation agreement hinges on the agreement brokers sign when they join the MLS. Let's walk through the process. When a broker joins the MLS, they will be required to split their commissions on listings they advertise. If a broker takes a listing, places it on the MLS, and advertises the buyer's broker will receive 2% commission, the broker is obligated to pay the commission. In this scenario, who owes the commission to the buyer's broker? The seller owes a commission to the listing broker according to the listing agreement. The seller has absolutely no contractual relationship with the buyer's broker.